5 marker challenge, pff, that's too easy. 3 marker challenge, done that. 1 marker challenge, yeah, a little more challenging, but still not enough. But what about 80 marker challenge? Hello everyone! So today I'm gonna make a little illustration using all of these markers, 80 in total. So these were sent to me by Banggood, not sponsored. Banggood is a website, a little like Wish kind of, where you can buy all sorts of things like art supplies fairly cheap. And these markers are really super cheap. I will leave a link below where you can get these if you're interested. The markers comes in this fabric bag and the zipper fell off kind of immediately, but I could just put it on again without too much trouble. These are apparently the TouchFive markers, so these will be very interesting to test out because I've seen these markers everywhere and even you guys have requested me to review them, so here you go. I didn't even know that these were the TouchFive markers when Banggood asked me to review them, since the brand logo has been removed on their website for some reason. Anyways, they looks like regular old markers with 1 finer bullet nib and 1 wider chisel nib. So I made a color chart to get some kind of overview of the colors and I sorted them after greens, red, blues and purples and so on. The numbers really don't say me anything, so this is what made the most sense for me personally. And I must say that there is actually a very generous range of different color tones, at least in the mid and lighter tones, but there is still some darker tones too, so far so good. And it also looks like the colors on the caps are actually matching the actual color most of the time, so thumbs up for that. So this is the piece I'm gonna color today, a little cat explorer resting in his camp, and it is so cute. I love how this scene turned out. I tried to add a bunch of different details to have things to color with all these markers. So is it really a challenge using 80 markers to color a piece? Shouldn't it be easier to have a bunch of colors to use? And yeah, of course it can be easier to use a lot of colors compared to only using like 1 or 3, since it can be hard to create contrast and depth with less colors. However, in this case, I can't choose the colors myself, and yes, I have a lot of colors, but I also have to use them all, including the colors I wouldn't normally use for a scene like this. I have to use all the green, all the purple, all the teal, all the orange, and what I think will be the most challenging color to add to this piece might be the pink and the purple ones. I do usually use a lot of colors in a more detailed marker piece like this, but not nearly as many as I have to use now. So to be able to use them all, I tried to add as many colors as I could for the different areas without making it look like a multicolored mess. I was worried I wouldn't be able to squeeze in all the 80 colors, but thankfully many of them are quite similar and blends nicely into each other. For the sky only, I was able to use 7 colors, and I layered a lot of the greens and the teals for the trees and bushes, and as I said, I was a little afraid it would turn into a mess of colors, but I have to say that layering all the colors really added textures and depth to the piece. It feels more realistic even if it still has this cartoony vibe. I've tried a bunch of cheaper markers and they've all had their pros and their cons, like with all things. These ones, however, must be the ones I enjoyed working with the most. I honestly couldn't tell that much difference between working with these markers and pro markers, for example. The colors looks great and they are easy to blend, and in this set there is a good color variety. The bullet nib wasn't too soft, so it was nice to make smaller details details with, and it seems quite durable. The only negative thing I can think of at the moment is that there is this little edge inside of the cap, and if you're not putting the cap on straight, there is a risk that this little edge inside will split the marker nib. I had this happen to me with some of the chisel nibs, so you have to be very careful when you put on the caps again. Oh, and one thing I remember I have to say, next week there will probably not be a video, and that is because this coming week we are packing all our things and moving out from our tiny apartment and moves into our own new huge house. We're getting the keys tomorrow, which will be yesterday when this video goes up, and I know I said this in a previous video, but I'm so excited to finally get that big art room that I've dreamt of. Yay, it will be so awesome! But anyways, as I wanted to say, since we have to pack and move next week, there is no way I will have time to make a video, and instead of just making something half decent, I decided to take a little break, and then hopefully the next week after that I will be back again. So that is why I thought I make a bigger project for this week for you guys and for me, because I really wanted to make something more detailed and fun before taking a break. So I used the color chart that I made earlier to gradually check off the colors to keep track of the ones I had already used, and this really helped me to plan out the colors and where to put them, because I wanted to spread out the different tones so that the piece would feel more cohesive, so that there weren't splotches of greens and red over at one corner that didn't appear anywhere else in the drawing. Usually I would probably not make it so bright. I do love the vibrant colors, but it is very saturated. I also struggle with the fact that I unintentionally made it into evening time, because there is this campfire and lantern and I wanted the scene to look cozy. So without thinking, I made a darker sky with a moon, so that made it a bit harder for me with the lighting. I am aware of that the colors are a bit too bright in relative to the amount of light sources. I would want the corners of the scene to be darker, but I also didn't want to darken the colors too much and make it look gray and muddy. So to make it a little less bright, I found this muted pastel blue marker to be very helpful to tone down some of the colors and give it a cooler tone. The piece in general has these very warm tones, but adding the cooler blue to the shading gives the illusion of the object being in the shadow, even if the tone itself isn't really that dark. There is this moon on the sky, and moonlight is often cooler, so even if it could be even darker in some spots, I think it worked pretty well anyway. I had so much fun making this piece, and it was really nice doing a more advanced or detailed illustration in markers again. Sometimes I feel like I don't get to make the bigger pieces because there isn't enough time, so I'm glad I really took the time now and made this. I really enjoy making little scenes and environments like this with this little cat character, and I hope you guys like them too, so that I can make more of them. My boyfriend and I has actually been planning to make a children's book together. He will write and I will illustrate, of course. I guess he could illustrate too, but that would be quite a psychedelic visual experience, I believe. But anyways, I want to make more pieces like this, so I'm really gonna try to make time for it every now and then in the future. And I did manage to put in all the pinks and the purples I was so worried about before. The pinkish, more yellowish skin tones I used for the map on the ground to represent parchment paper kind of, and the more purplish pinks I used for the flowers. Some of the colors really didn't fit for this piece, I think, but I could squeeze them in there anyway by using them for the patches on the tent and for the jacket and scarves and the gloves for the cat. So in the end, I think this challenge went a lot better than I first expected. I'm super happy with how it turned out. I like the calm and relaxing and cozy vibes that it gives. I would love to live there myself and sit on a log in the evening, drinking tea or hot chocolate in front of the campfire, and then the next day be on my way to new adventures. So I hope you enjoyed this piece and this challenge, and let me know how you think I did and what's your favorite part of the drawing. Thanks Banggood for sending me these markers to play with, and thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you're new here and click on that little bell icon to get notified every time I post new art and videos, and I will see you next time, which will hopefully be in 2 weeks in my new house. Keep drawing my happy cat, bye!